Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Funny and welcome back to another video on the channel. Before we get into today's video, I want to thank Optimus for giving me the inspiration and idea to do this video. Full credit goes to him. His video link will be down in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. So, YouTube screwed up. This has never happened before in history. It's first time has ever went down. Cannot believe we are making a video talking about yet another YouTube flub. Oh, wait a minute. That never happens. So this is the first time we're ever going through this. Yeah, no, I just wanted to start the video off with like a joke just because this is really bad and we need to somehow make this a little better. You really can't. You really cannot make this any better. So to start off, YouTube big time screwed up. Obviously, this is like the 400th video probably criticizing YouTube for something. Trust me, it gets old. It really does. It gets old every single time that YouTube decides to screw something up. And we have come here to talk about it. Before we even get into the video, I want you guys to consider this in order for YouTube to not screw up. Guess what they had to do? Literally insert someone's video segment into an event that was already scheduled to be inserted into the event. It's the equivalent of dragging and dropping a clip into a timeline in Premiere Pro. That's all YouTube had to do in order to not screw up and get the entire community against them. But of course, that was too much to ask of YouTube, and you can't ask them to do the right thing to treat their community like actual people. That's ridiculous. Why would you even suggest something like that? So I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there is a situation going on. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but there's a situation going on with Corey Kenshin. If you haven't heard the drama already, basically what happened was the favoritism and potential racism when it comes to reviewing appeals and how they treat creators in general on the platform. I thought it was a pretty decent video, and I'm here to talk about it, of course. One of the prominent points that Corey Kenshin made in his video was that he was basically hit with an age restriction for a piece of content Markiplier uploaded about the same exact thing. He didn't get age restricted, so why did Corey? There was a whole bunch of drama surrounding that, and of course Markiplier, I think, did the right thing personally in the situation. I think his solution here was pretty good. So Markiplier actually decided to do something that most creators wouldn't do. Like a lot of creators probably would have taken the Corey Kenshin point as kind of like a slamming them or like coming after them type of thing, even though the intention wouldn't be that specifically. Markiplier was more or less used as the ends to justify the means in a way that he didn't seem too particularly offended, because he actually stood up for Corey Kenshin and the rest of the community, asking questions by uploading a video called Try Not to Get Age Restricted Challenge, right? So this is an almost 40-minute video where he plays some pretty risque games and does some risque stuff, like he's pretty much playing porn games, if we're being honest, at a very minimum. Like, it should have probably been age restricted. With everything that happened in the video, and that was the point, right? He wanted to see just how far he could push the limits. Well, as it stood for hours on YouTube, racking up millions of views, YouTube did not age restrict the video, which kind of proved Corey Kenshin's point in a way, right? Because his point was that people like Markiplier get special treatment from YouTube, and he finds it unfair. Markiplier essentially proves that YouTube has special privileges, or at the bare minimum doesn't have a system that equally applies the rules. And so what do you think YouTube does, guys? Like, what do you honestly think YouTube does? Keep in mind, Markiplier is scheduled to be in the Game On event. They used him extensively in the marketing for this, event and whatnot. Do you think they finally just admitted they were in the wrong, reversed all of their decisions that led to the controversy, and finally resolved the issue? Because they went out for hamburgers and hot dogs at lunch and had a couple of smooches around a Coca-Cola at a restaurant. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but it's another opinion. Do you think they removed Markiplier from the heavily marketed event, that he was involved in the Game On event, and basically gave no explanation why? So this was about a 2-minute segment in the video that Markiplier had made basically for this event, and YouTube completely cut it out from the way it seems. Not only did they not notify Markiplier that they were going to be cutting his content, but they didn't really inform him of his fans or anyone else that the content was going to be cut. They kind of just got people's hopes up that Markiplier was going to be in this event, and then just randomly cut his footage, most likely because of the age restricted challenge video that he made. So basically YouTube has kind of set this like this explanation. I'll say that if you speak out against a company, it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have, if it doesn't matter what influence you have on the platform, if you speak out against YouTube and you actually go through the effort to prove them wrong, they will legitimately take action against you. Now, let's be honest, did Markiplier need the exposure or whatever from the piece of content in that whole event? No. He has 33.5 million subscribers, but that doesn't make the point being made here. It doesn't matter how badly he needed the exposure or anything. It's just the principle of what YouTube did, not letting a creator know that they were removing their segment from a video, basically cut out of spite for proving that they have favorites on their platform, and just kind of swept it under the rug like it wasn't a big deal, or like it wasn't that big of an issue that personally I take pretty big issue with, and you might. Like, oh well, Corrosive, why do you care, man? It's not your content. Well, because I care about the YouTube community, I think other creators also should have their time to shine. They should have their time to be able to participate in these kinds of events to bring the community together. These are the kinds of things that the community wants. Who wouldn't want to be a part of a massive YouTube collaboration that's been heavily marketed by the platform? I'm pretty sure Markiplier probably wanted to be a part of it, considering he made a piece of content for it that got cut. Yeah, he made the segment and got it ready for the big Game On event just for it to be cut without warning. Now, Markiplier did end up releasing the cut that was supposed to be in the YouTube Game On event on his YouTube channel already. It already has millions of views. Go figure, but it's just mind-blowing that YouTube screws up so badly, like so consistently. It feels like, especially in a situation like this, the answer's right there, man. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that this wasn't the right move. I feel like if you had a four able-bodied, like, not moron, basically come together and talk about this, they would have come to the conclusion that cutting a piece of the content was really stupid, and the reason behind it couldn't be more transparent. Do you think it's a coincidence that YouTube only cut his segment of the video after he called them out in his fashion? And keep in mind, you know, a big thing that a lot of us have always thought is, like, if you're a big YouTuber, like, this is what you get away with, calling out YouTube. Those are the people that need to use their platform to call out YouTube because they're the only ones who don't face consequences. But apparently, that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, once again, this is a guy with 33.5 million subscribers. He has more subscribers than some countries have altogether in their own population. You would think if anyone would want to listen to this guy, right? But apparently not, folks. And it's because Markiplier stood up for the YouTube community, and he did the right thing. He stood up for people who have been calling this issue out and talking about it so honestly. I just want to say I really appreciate Markiplier for putting himself on the line like this, and as you know, risking his participation in the event more or less to prove a point that people like Corey Kenshin have been calling out on the platform. A lot of YouTubers would have just stayed silent, not even talk about it, but, you know, brush it off, act like it would never happen. And Markiplier actively didn't do that, so I think he deserves to be commended a little bit for that, because it takes a lot of conscience to call out YouTube like that, you know, especially now that we apparently know the risks of doing so. YouTube, I'm sure you're not watching my video one bit. I'm a small YouTuber. There's no way you would really see this unless this were to blow up nationally. However, I don't understand how you guys constantly fail. Like, you have the backing of one of the largest companies on the planet. You have infinite money to play with. You have billions of monthly users. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. The platform goes in the direction that it goes in simply because of YouTube's incompetence. You would think at some point they would address this in a hiring phase or like in the training phase, because it's clearly an issue on the platform, right? You would think the employees would somewhat get trained or be hired knowing these kind of guidelines and stuff, so they don't have problems like this where one creator appears to be favored over the other, but they can't get that right, and then they can't get their response to the controversy right. Like, I don't understand. YouTube just loves messing up, man. Like, if these people had this shit for breakfast, they'd be munching them down like a cookie monster in a bakery, and you know, I have never seen a company self-sabotage so badly like YouTube shows all the time. They just don't give a shit about their community, and that's just insane to me. I genuinely try to push this narrative as if they care and that they're here to help creators and they're going to figure it out for us, but then, you know, it turns into this bullshit. Like, this is the response, after people complaining about the issue on the platform. These are kinds of responses that we get. I don't know, man. This just does not make any kind of sense. There's nothing about this that makes any sense. And the factor that Markiplier seems to have some sort of like privilege over the other creators, even though it's not really his fault. Doesn't really make sense YouTube responding in this way. Doesn't make sense. And kind of course, that people are calling out YouTube for this again. I mean, like, this video here, basically, YouTube is dead silent, they're radio silent. You're not going to hear a response on this, man. You're just going to have to wait until the next controversy, right? So, with that being said, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing for more content on this channel. Again, YouTube, please fix your shit. Get your shit together, guys. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Remember, we're not toxic, we're corrosive. We'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Chris Bunny, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Where today we're gonna be going ahead and playing some more Fortnite. So let's get straight into it.